You have to respect people who helped you get started. Mase taught me how to rap, and Cam always made sure I was on every single album he made. There would be no Jim Jones if it wasn't for those guys. 1 hour later, and it's good to hear you. Give Mase credit. I'm not giving any credit. That I love to hate because I'm a hater myself, okay? You don't think Pusha T should be on the greatest 50 rappers of all time list? Wow, what has he done? What has he done that puts him in the greatest rappers of all time, besides talk about drugs that he probably didn't sell? This is exactly why Jim Jones messed up again. Pusha T wasn't just performing. He was staring straight into the camera, straight into Jim's eyes like he was sending a warning from hell. He straight up said Jim's been running from the spirit of losing everything. A cold hit at the fact that the bank took Jim's house. That's mean. But the embarrassment didn't stop there, because guess who showed up to the drama with popcorn? Mase. Yep. Mase showed up like he was watching a comedy show. But here's the real crazy part. Even after getting burned like that, Jim still won't accept the loss and just move on. Oh man, okay. They want instead of backing down, he jumped right back in the fire. Dropping a freestyle as a comeback and throwing hate all over Instagram, not just at Pusha, but also at Mase. Bros turning the comments section into a war zone. But let's be real, Mase and Cameron aren't letting him get away with it. They've been making fun of Jim left and right, showing zero mercy. Now, let's talk about that tiny desk moment. Pusha and his brother Mase didn't just perform, they destroyed. With that live set promoting their comeback album, Let God Sort Them Out. That was a statement. In the wildest moment, their performance of Chains and Whips, a song with Kendrick Lamar that had layers of lyrical smoke aimed straight at Jim. If you watch both clips, the tiny desk performance and that genius lyric breakdown, then you already know what time it is. Fanboy, you begged us. You are a fan. A fan. Hey, pause though. Get off me. Pusha T didn't flinch, didn't blink, nothing. He delivered those bars with a dead stare and a sneaky evil smile, like he was casting a spell straight through the lens and into Jim's chest. He wasn't performing for the crowd. He was targeting Jim directly, like a sniper with a microphone. And what makes it even more brutal, the way Pusha broke Jim down was like surgery. That wasn't just rap. That was lyrical precision. The kind that leaves bruises and embarrassment. But let's keep it real. Jim Jones brought this all on himself. Nobody told him to pick this fight. He jumped into the beef out of nowhere, all because he wanted to show loyalty to Drake. No disrespect to Drake, but Jim turned himself into a full-time attack dog for a man who didn't even give him a verse. Let's talk about that Chains and Whips bar. We all in the room, but here's the elephant. You chasing a feature out of your element. Pusha was airing it all out. That was a direct shot at Jim for constantly begging Drake for a feature, to the point where Jim went on air saying, Drake's the greatest rapper of all time, just to score points. And once Billboard dropped their top 50 list and placed Pusha T at number 29, that's when Jim completely lost it. He hit the Breakfast Club with that sideways energy, saying Pusha didn't even deserve to be ranked in the top 50. The 5 Pusha T records right now. His records, yes, I love Pusha. Nostalgia. The Pusha T fans. I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No. His records. See, but no. Can you know? Can you rap to 5 Push? Can I? I can't rap 5. Alright, can you rap to 5? Wait, can you rap? If 5 Pusha T, 5 Pusha T records, not the records he's featured on. If 5 Pusha T records came on right now, could you rap them? You could rap 5 Pusha T records. Yeah. Could. You could. You wait. Could you rap 5 Pusha T records right now if they started playing? What do you mean rap? Like the hook, like could you sing them? You're not in my top 50, you might be in Charlemagne's top 50, and things like that, but you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like I didn't ever want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought like you dig, like where I'm from, want to be like you, if you was really that dude, and that rapper, and things like that. You like Pusha. He was influenced by Pusha. Yeah, okay, cool. That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record. Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. Man, FU is nowhere near the top 50. You're top 950. Then like that wasn't enough. He doubled down on the Rap Caviar podcast, saying Push hasn't done anything major for the culture. Pusha T definitely hit a nerve with that ruthless bar and Chains and Whips, because Jim Jones didn't waste any time responding with a freestyle. But here's the plot twist. That freestyle, it's actually 2 years old. Yep, Jim recorded that track back when a piece of the Chains and Whips beat leaked after Clips debuted it during a Louis Vuitton runway show. They walked out to the song before it ever dropped officially. Jim somehow got his hands on the instrumental, hit the booth the very next day, and dropped that freestyle like he had something to prove. But fast forward to now. After Clips' tiny desk performance went viral and the internet lit up with praise, Jim pulled the ultimate petty move. He re-uploaded the old freestyle clip to Instagram like it was brand new and captioned it with the shade. I thought we addressed this already. He going to need a bigger desk because that one was too tiny. Then he added, this is surgical. I'm not a storyteller. I'm a life trying to sound cool while throwing half shots. But fans weren't buying it at all. If you check the comments, Jim's own followers are roasting him. One person said, you got triggered and smoked so bad you re-uploaded a diss from last year. Another made fun of him with, he said no names and you're claiming enamel on your necklaces. And the coldest one, jealousy turns into obsession. Give it up, man, you're reaching. It's brutal. And not just from the internet. Mason and Cameron couldn't help themselves either. Given all the messy history between them and Jim, you already know they're somewhere laughing their heads off right now. How you doing, man? Laughter music. Oh, what's happening? Oh man. Crazy man. Laughter. Alright. Oh man. Okay, what? They've been watching this unfold like it's premium entertainment. And honestly, they're treating it like karma came full circle. Now, if you're wondering why Mase was cracking up so hard during all this, it runs deep. Way deeper than just a viral diss track. See, this beef isn't new. It's decades in the making. Mase, Cameron, and Jim Jones all came up together in Harlem. Or at least, that's how Jim tells it. Cam has his own version of that story, and it's not exactly flattering for Jim. Back in the mid-90s, the three of them were part of an underground rap crew called Children of the Corn. That was their original squad, and out of all of them, Mase was the first to blow up. He signed with Bad Boy Records under Diddy and became a superstar almost overnight. Flashy suits, shiny videos, the whole Harlem Shake era. But according to Jim, that's where the shift happened. Jim later said that after Mase blew up, he switched up fast, started acting funny, distancing himself from the people who held him down in the early days, especially Cam, and that hit different. During his interview on Justin Layboy's Respectfully show earlier this year, Jim even said he sat there watching Mase talk trash about Cam like it was nothing. That moment, he said, is when the respect died. Meanwhile, while Mase was swimming in shiny suits, Cam was still grinding it out on the streets, and when Cam finally got his shot, he made sure to bring Jim with him. Watch Mase on Cam and everybody around him. Wow. Disrespect a person unlike all the time you heard. Like I was there the whole time, but I was Cam's man. You heard, is that I wasn't there for every single thing. Cam didn't like, I didn't like, and I already see how he was handling Cam. So I definitely didn't like him. You dig? And then I seen how much love Cam had for him and how Cam was jumping out the window for him, which a friend should like that. Like being overprotective, making sure nothing happened. Like he was trying his best to make sure that Mase stayed as safe as possible. But Mase had got that money and lost his mind. That's how the Diplomats were born. A movement built on loyalty and Harlem hustle. But Mase, he disappeared after all the Diddy drama. He walked away from rap and reappeared as a pastor, a full-blown man of God. Then, out of nowhere, he pops back into rap again, trying to reconnect with the same scene he left. Jim never bought into the comeback. To him, Mase was a flip, jumping between the pulpit and the studio, showing up only when the spotlight was hot again. Now, yeah, Mase and Cameron had their fair share of drama in the past, no doubt, but they officially squashed that beef in 2022 and flipped the script with their sports podcast. It is what it is. That reunion was a moment, but not everyone was clapping, especially not Jim Jones. Jim was heated. Seeing Mase and Cam cool again clearly reopened some old scars. He wasn't with the peaceful energy. He felt left out and betrayed. So, what did Jim do? He started taking petty shots. Recently, he even went off on Mase again, mocking his looks, and telling the world Mase needed to hit the gym and go on a diet. Real salty behavior. But you already know, Mase and Cam weren't just going to sit back and let that slide. They went full petty mode and brought out the one person guaranteed to get under Jim's skin. 50 Cent, Jim's longtime nemesis. And not just in passing, they put 50 right there on their podcast, front and center, like a special guest of honor. That then came the setup. Cam, with a smirk, looked at Mase and casually asked him to explain something from back in the day. Why did Jim Jones randomly show up at a G-Unit concert in 2007 while Dipset and G-Unit were actively beefing? Cam knew what he was doing. That question was a setup from the jump. A perfect alley-oop tossed in the air and 50 caught it mid-flight, with a savage dunk. No hesitation. And of course, Jim took the bait, hook, line, and meltdown. He jumped on the Respectfully show with Justin LaBoy and snapped, calling out Cam and 54, even mentioning his name. According to Jim, they owe him more than a few favors, whatever that means, but the shots didn't stop there. Jim turned the dial all the way up, claiming he was the mastermind behind the entire Dipset vibe, from the music to the image. He even said he was the one who inspired Cam's whole iconic style, including that legendary pink fur coat. Yeah, Jim really tried to claim that, but come on now, you already know Cam wasn't letting that fly. He clapped back immediately on the podcast and went in on Jimmy. Cam dismantled Jim's whole Dipset origin story, straight up calling him a liar and putting the real timeline on display. According to Cam, Jim wasn't from Harlem like he always claims. He said Jim was not one of the originals. And the Dipset was already moving before Jim even got involved. Cam said what it really was. Jim was a late add-on, not a founding member, and definitely not in the trenches when the movement started. Then it got even messier. Jim had tried to act like he was there during the Mase bad boy era, claiming he watched Mase disrespect Cam back in the day. Cam shut that all the way down. He said Jim wasn't even around when that happened. According to Cam, by the time Jim showed up, Children of the Corn had already made their name in the underground scene. And Jim, he was just a fan. Now things it started spiraling after that just a fan jab. That line cut deep. Not just for Jim, but for anyone watching who remembered the Dipset glory days. Cameron didn't just throw shade, he snatched away the foundation of Jim's whole rap identity, brick by brick. Behind the scenes, industry insiders say Jim's been furious ever since that podcast aired. He's been calling folks out, trying to remind people of what he's contributed, claiming he built the Dipset brand from scratch. The visuals, the mixtape grind, the street presence, but the problem is Cam and Mase got the mic now. They're running the narrative. And Jim, he's fighting to stay in the conversation. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is loving every second of this. He's been posting sneaky captions and cryptic memes, stirring the pot without even breaking a sweat. And let's not forget, 50's got a long memory. He never forgot how Jim sided with Ross back in the Geonet beef days. And now he's getting his revenge, without lifting a finger. But here's where it gets even crazier. Cam and Mase aren't done. Sources close to them say they've been planning a full Dipset documentary series. And guess who might not get the credit he's expecting? You already know Jim's worried that if they control the story, he becomes the side character in a movement. He helped push. Now here's the thing. Legacy in hip-hop isn't just about music anymore. It's about who controls the narrative. And right now, Jim Jones is watching the story of Dipset get rewritten without him holding the pen. That's why he's scrambling, trying to reclaim the spotlight before it's too late. Insiders say Jim's been calling on old allies, trying to get interviews locked in, podcasts booked, anything to get his side of the story out. He even hinted that he's got footage, receipts, and unreleased content that'll set the record straight. But let's be real, the internet already chose sides, and it isn't looking good for him. Meanwhile, Cam and Mase are moving like chess masters. They're not yelling, they're not ranting, they're just dropping subtle digs and letting the clips speak for themselves. And each time they do, it makes Jim look more like the bitter ex-friend trying to crash the reunion he wasn't invited to. Then there's the fans. Dipset loyalists are split. Some riding with Jim out of respect, others calling him out for playing victim. One viral comment said it all. You can't cry about being left out when you spent years burning bridges. And now, there's even talk about a full-on Cam and Mase documentary, one that highlights their Harlem roots, the bad boy era, and the birth of Dipset with minimal mention of Jim Jones. That would be the ultimate power move. Erase him without saying his name. Jim knows what that means. In an industry built on perception, once the audience locks in on a version of history, there's no redoing it. By now, it's clear this battle isn't just playing out in music or on Instagram. It's happening in real time across platforms, interviews, podcasts, and headlines. It's about who gets the last word. And Cam and Mase, they're controlling the mic and the message. They've turned It Is What It Is from a sports podcast into a cultural power tool, one that can uplift or erase depending on who's in the crosshairs. And Jim Jones, he's starting to realize he's not just losing control of the narrative, he's getting written out of it altogether. Every time Cam drops a sneaky line or Mase laughs at an inside joke, it reminds viewers that they were the ones really there. Jim's stories are getting picked apart on air, and he can't stop it. He doesn't have the same platform. He's reacting while they're creating the content. And the worst part, the younger generation, the ones who didn't grow up on Dipset, they're only seeing this version of events. The one where Jim was never a true founder, just a side character who came in late, got loud, and started problems. Jim's been posting throwbacks and making emotional pleas to remind folks he was the muscle behind Dipset's movement. But the silence from Cam and Mase is louder than any post. They're letting the fans decide what matters. And so far, the fans are laughing. With Cam and Mase, not with Jim. Behind the scenes, people are saying Jim feels betrayed, isolated, and boxed out. He thought loyalty would earn him a seat at the table. Instead, he's watching it all from the outside. And with rumors swirling that Cam and Mase might be shopping a book deal or even a streaming special on the early Harlem days, Jim's running out of time to shift the narrative. But Cam didn't stop there. He really went for the kill. He brought up the fact that Mase actually taught Jim how to rap and then dropped the proof. Actual clips where Jim admitted it himself on camera. No denying it. That was a mic drop moment. And the wildest part, Mase didn't even have to say anything. He just sat there, cool as ever, eating a bucket of popcorn, nearly choking from laughing so hard every time Cam hit Jim with another jab. That man was enjoying the show like he bought front row tickets. It was genius level trolling. Mase's silence was louder than any diss track. And yet somehow Jim still took the bait. He hopped online and responded by saying he'd slapped the popcorn out of Mase's hands. Brother, he couldn't even hold it in. But hold up, Jim's not backing down. Not at all. Word on the street is he's gearing up for revenge in the booth. And this time, he's calling in reinforcements. Jim is now teaming up with Drake for his upcoming album, Iceman. And insiders are saying he's got a whole lineup of subliminal shots locked and loaded. From Pusha T to Mase to Cam. Nobody's safe. And there's one track in particular that's already got industry folks whispering. The kind of track that could flip the narrative, stir the pot even harder, and maybe, just maybe, put Jim back in the driver's seat. But what do you think? Is Jim about to make the comeback of the year, or just dig himself deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Jim Jones the underdog fighting back, or is he chasing ghosts at this point?